Hi there again. This is Josh with Finding Speed Now. I have another track guide for you. This time it's for Kansas. We're going to be doing a little bit of setup as well as going the qualification and long run options. This one's pretty fun because it's got a bunch of different lines you can actually run. So with this, we want to have our front brake bias. We're going to set it pretty low at like 56. Later in the run, you will need some braking. You're going to need some rotation, especially around the top. So on the qualification, it doesn't really matter because you're not really going to be using it too much. So and it's really just kind of like a brake tap. Okay. So here we go again. Run this top line. There are some bumps you have to watch out for. And your goal is to be able to get on the throttle fully as fast as you can. You can cut down here on the D. There we go. Good. There we go. Ooh, almost a little bit too much. There we go. Okay, here's the third one. There we go. A little too weak on the throttle there. We'll try doing low on this one just as a test to see how it does. You just don't get quite the same run that you do. Little wall bump. Maybe the bottom might be better. Let's see if we do that one more time if we can get a better one. Yeah. I think it might be bottom qualification, or maybe it's just me being better at doing bottom than top, so. There we go. A little more improvement there. So let's go back here. Alright, I'll fast forward a little bit. Oop. Alright. So there are some bumps here that you just want to just be careful about. It can cause you to get tight coming around. And then you want to come down and cut as far down as you can, but you also want to make sure you come back up to get a good entry here. And as you can see, like as that banking starts, I get that my front end pointed down. I'm off the throttle, and then I try getting back on as soon as I can. And if the card brings you down like that, you can just let it, because I think I got a little loose there. Yeah. you can let it bring you down. So again, you get the car pointed at right before the banking. So my front end is kind of pointed down there, and it just is going to kind of come up a little bit. We're going to get back on the throttle. And let's go back for this type of reference. So a little bit after that light, it looks like you dropped the throttle. And I was able to not drop it all the way. I still had like 20-30%. Got a little bit loose there. Yeah, you can use that light on both corners as a reference, and you can kind of work it as you are going through, whether you want to do it a little before, a little after, making sure you get that car pointed down, and getting back on throttle as soon as you can to be able to get that good runoff, to get that good top speed. And then the next one, yeah, that's where I got loose. I got back on the throttle too early, let's see. Or too aggressively, probably. Yeah, there's a little bump right here, not much, but that caused me to kind of lose a little bit of steering there, so luckily I was able to catch it. I was off the throttle a bit earlier, but probably on the throttle a lot earlier too. So I still had more runoff there, so I could have put more throttle coming through that corner, especially for qualification. Like, I could have just kept steering down. I had to bring the car up myself, so. Reference point for throttle lift. It looks like after the light still even. Yeah, like I said, it gives you just some type of reference of like, okay, I need to let off the throttle here pretty soon. I was all the way back up at like 75% throttle, and then I got back on it just a little bit too aggressively and not smooth enough, I think is what I did there. So I was progressively going up, and then I just pinned it, and that caused me to get loose. So if I would have just continued a nice slow progression up, I probably would have been fine. That's why it's key to make sure that you're progressing the throttle up rather than doing an on-off switch. That was a little bit of, even though I was still on the throttle, but I just dropped it. So 50% throttle going through the corner, yep. And then just watch the kind of throttle control that I'm doing there to be able to just kind of maintain. I'm not plowing through the corner, and I'm not giving it too much as I'm coming through. Nice progressive throttle coming through there. Yeah, this track temperature is good. You don't have to come off the throttle all the way for qualification. Alright, so we'll move into kind of the longer run. And just kind of talk over some different options that you have or what's going to happen. So, especially like a short run, I think it's going to give you some better, I mean, even on the qualification, I was able to do a better lap time running low. But as always, you want to make sure you have smooth inputs and you're not overdriving the corner or overdriving the exit. There we go. I don't think it's necessary to cut that unless like you're trying to gain just that extra little bit of a guy that's in front of you, like, it is going to add some heat into your tires doing that, though. Any bumps add heat to your tires. And as you add that throttle, it gives you a little bit more rotation, if I feel it. Get all the way up, let off. I'm able to progressively get back on. So I definitely have more time in my qualification lap than what I did on when I was showing you the qualification. I'm running pretty darn close to that lap time, which is good as long as you're able to not slide the tires. I'm still able to maintain that. Just kind of look for like my telemetry and see like the smoothness that I'm doing, like the progressive throttle. It's never on off unless I'm doing like corrections or I hit bumps. We'll try to go do the high line here. Let off. Let's see how it does. You're going to be able to get more speed on the straightaway. Back on the throttle all the way. Definitely is more sketchy doing that high line by the wall. Just less room for error. And as the run progresses to like the 20 lap-ish mark, most likely it'll progress to being top line, because you're just not going to be able to carry enough speed. You're gonna have to get up on the brakes too much on that bottom portion. Now starting to get a little bit of tire wear. I was turning into the corner a little bit late there, which is going to get me a little bit more right front wear than what I would like. So right before that banking starts, use that throttle to kind of rotate. That's good. We'll do one more lap. A little bit slidey there. You want to try to avoid that on your longer runs. You want to try to make sure that your car stays planted. You're not understeering. You allow the car to come down, and then you progressively get on the throttle, and then your steering comes out of it. So, I mean, I'm still staying relatively close to what my best lap was. And I'm not pushing nearly as hard as what I was there. It's way easier to kind of consistently run those lap times. So all right, so that concludes this video for Kansas, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe. Check me out on Twitch, and appreciate your time, guys. So thank you.